Mutuse, you have 15 minutes.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I begin my reply to the motion, please allow me to table additional documents, being a newspaper advert that was placed by His Excellency the Deputy President in today's newspapers, and also the video recording of his speech yesterday, because they are material to these proceedings.
Go ahead. Request granted.
Mr. Speaker, I have tabled the two documents, electronic and physical, because during the course of this debate, members in many instances had referred to them, and therefore it is only fair that they are part of the record. Number two, Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank...
The documents were available to me earlier, and I ruled that they are admitted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I want to be very brief because I know the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya wants to make a decision on the matter of impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. Mr. Speaker, to begin with is to thank colleague members of Parliament from both sides of the House for the robust debate in terms of the motion that we presented before the House this morning. Mr. Speaker, I also want to thank Kenyans in their millions from all over the Republic, because in the course of this debate, Kenyans have been commending, Kenyans have been exercising their democratic right through public participation, through their right to odd opinions, and we have not witnessed a single incident of violence anywhere in the Republic. There had been vitisho that if you table an impeachment motion for a person of the magnitude of the Deputy President, there may be violence, people will lose lives. But I thank Kenyans, because Kenyans have proven once again that we are a peaceful country and we are able to engage in our democratic processes without violence. Mr. Speaker, allow me to re-examine some of the few issues that have come through the response. First is to let Kenyans know that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has filed a response of 501 pages, and the response has come at 4 p.m. and I was only able to be given the response about an hour ago. And therefore, in terms of the doctrine of equality of arms, I feel that I needed adequate time so that I may be able, during my reply, to respond to some of the things that he has raised in his response. However, be that as it may, I want to refer members to page 99 of his response. In the morning, I did tell members that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has acquired properties through corruption and through money laundering. And when he has come before this House, he has told you that the hotel that he acquired in Nyeri was acquired through a loan. However, the only document exhibited as evidence of that loan is a letter of offer from Credit Bank Limited. There is no evidence exhibited by Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, the current Deputy President, to the effect that the loan was actually finalized, to the effect that he actually got the loan. Mr. Speaker, as a term of the letter of offer, in terms of lien and set-off, and I read, a lien and set-off of a fixed deposits of LN Crystal Kenya Limited for an aggregate amount of 300 million Kenya shillings. Interest accrued shall be credited to your deposit settlement account. Mr. Speaker, in simple terms, what this means is that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua had a fixed amount in cash of 300 million in his account, which was going to be used as a security. I asked Mr. Rigathi Gachagua to tell us where he had gotten this 300 million, if my allegations that he's laundering money are not true. And therefore, by virtue of his response, by virtue of his response, it confirms my assertions that he has monies, he has wealth, he has cash that is suspect. If you may give me my phone. In terms of whether Kenya is a company or not.
Do you want information from member
Yes.
for West Mugirango?
Yes, you may.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I want to inform the Honorable Mutuse that the director for Credit Bank Kenya Limited is one Grace Nyachai, who hails from Nyeri and is a relative of His Excellency Gachagua, and therefore I say no more.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important for this House to note that in the morning, I did present evidence of suspicious money transactions. I did present evidence that His Excellency Gachagua, either by himself or through relatives or through proxies, has acquired properties that are way beyond his known sources of income, and that evidence remains uncontroverted. Turning, Mr. Speaker, to the issue of whether Kenya is a company owned by shareholders. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua is playing with the intelligence of members of parliament and with the intelligence of Kenyans by attempting to twist facts. First, in terms of the law, companies are registered under the Companies Act. They are not registered under the Political Parties Act. So to come before Kenyans and to say that there were coalition agreements registered and therefore those coalition agreements are companies is to play around with our intelligence, because we know companies are registered under the Companies Act, they are not registered under the Political Parties Act. Further, Mr. Speaker, this Rigathi Gachagua was selectively chosen the sections of the Kenya Kwanza's coalition agreement to rely on, and he has failed to read the document in whole. Under clause 20 of the Kenya Kwanza coalition agreement, that clause provides as follows: that there is need to achieve an inclusive government that reflects the face of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua chose not to tell us that the coalition agreement also talked about the face of Kenya and not a company of some people to the exclusion of others. Clause 6 of the Kenya Kwanza coalition agreement provides for respect for constitutionalism. The articles of the Constitution that I stated. It provides for respect to the rule of law. It provides for respect to the national values and principles of government under Article 10. And it provides for respect to devolution. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua did not tell us that. Clause 22G of the coalition agreement among the Kenya Kwanza political parties provides that there will be adjustments that may be necessary to accommodate the development priorities of other parts of the country to ensure equitable distribution of Kenya's national resources and wealth for the benefit of every citizen and every part of Kenya. This Mr. Rigathi Gachagua could not tell you because it was going to destroy his case. And therefore, honorable members, I urge you to find that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, in his assertions about shareholding and a company, it was not in reference to political parties, it was in reference to regions, it was in reference to communities, and the evidence that we provided remains uncontroverted, and this ground must be confirmed. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of KEMSA, again, to show a man who is a flip-flop, yesterday on live television, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua admitted that he personally called Dr. Andrew Mulwa by his own phone yesterday on television. Today, appearing before us, he denies that he did not call him. So, which part of his testimony do we believe? Do we believe the testimony that he gave yesterday on national television, that he did call Dr. Andrew Mulwa, and that he sent his own son to Dr. Andrew Mulwa to collect the bid bond? Or do we believe the testimony that he has brought today, altered testimony that he has brought today? I urge you to find that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua Mr. Rigathi Gachagua indeed did call to influence investigations. On the issue of cabinet, Mr. Speaker, if you may allow me just 1 minute. On the issue of cabinet resolution, he has admitted and proceeded to justify that despite the existence of a valid cabinet decision in a cabinet meeting that he sat, he chose to defy that cabinet decision. And for that reason, Mr. Gachagua, by his own admission, must be removed from government. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, this is the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. And for the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya to assert its constitutional authority, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. I urge members. Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, we have heard from members here, has made inflammatory remarks against the women of the Republic. For the respect of the women of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. We have heard that Mr. Rigathi Gachagua has disinherited the widows of his own brother. And for the widows of Kenya, beginning from Madeira, to be safe, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua must be impeached today. And therefore, I urge members to find favor with my motion from clause 1 to clause 11. And as you vote to impeach Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I beg to move.
And I beg to move.
Thank you. Honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Take your seats. Take your seats. Brighton, take your seats. Today you are very